except for the people in the state.
Except for the people in the state.
Yeah.
So I run an all-volunteer nonprofit that benefits cancer patients. I've been doing that for 18 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
Since my partner passed away. And I do it with my daughter, who was my partner's biological child. She came into my life when she was 3. So she's 41 now. She's
that's amazing.
But I was talking to Karishma, and she asked what I did. Well, and I said, well, one of the things I do is this. And I said, in the 18 years that we've been doing it, we've given away $2.7 million worth of direct care local cancer patients.
That's incredible.
And she said, oh, it's amazing what you're doing. She said, do you ever ask yourself why you have to do it? And I said, every day. Fucking day.
Yeah.
I see. And this is how we got involved in it when my
you didn't have it.
Was in treatment. We looked around and there's so much need. We overheard people not being able to, do I take my medication? Do I put oil in my...
Exactly. It's that decision that people should not have to be making. And so many people.
Every day. It's happening every day.
Yeah.
And it's astonishing. So once we started talking to the medical people, working with Amy, it's like, well, what would you need? And they're like, we can only take this so far. We can provide the medical aspect of it. We can't help people buy their pills. We can't have people pay their rent. We can't help people, go to a Red Sox game because they've never have been. So this is where I'm coming from. There should not be a need for my nonprofit. Not for me, not for paying your rent, buying your medication. Patriots games have never gone. Yes.
Yeah.
But the fundamentals, it's so depressing.
And the fact that you've been doing this for 18 years.
And it's only getting worse. People are getting younger, sicker.
And it's more and more expensive.
And more and more expensive.
Yeah, and it's harder and harder to coordinate the care, which is so scary.
Right. So, I think this is a golden opportunity.
I agree. I'm really grateful to you for being here. And also just like, when my grandmother had breast cancer and then she had ALS, like groups that stepped in and helped us care for her, because navigating these things are so complicated. It's like you have to have a doctorate and like how to have time to call the doctors and to like figure out the medications and to schedule people coming in, and like it's all so much more complicated than it needs to be. And so to have someone to accompany you through that,
dealing with insurance companies, just
it's a nightmare from hell.
It absolutely is. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And it's one that we've created for ourselves, and hopefully we can create an alternative. There's so many people right now who are just so fed up with it.
And I think that's why this time is golden. And I think it's because people are paying attention. And shame on, I don't really identify as a Democrat anymore, because the Schumer wing of the party, I have nothing in common with.
This is New Hampshire's story, right? Like, we have so many more registered undeclared voters because people are not at home in the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. And that's an opportunity for us to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, who the hell are we as a party? Right?
We need a new, not necessarily a new party, but I think we need to take the party
we need to recalibrate.
From what's happened over all these years, from the neocons, from the,
for me, it's like the party of like the parents and the teachers and the students and the organizers and the activists and the union. Like, it's all the people who do all the things that keep our communities going. And it feels like they are taken advantage of or taken for granted. And I just got to a point where I was really tired of waiting, being told, like, give us your money, give us your postcards, knock on the doors, right? Come to the protest and like support us. And then like, oh wait, your thing is actually second tier to something that's not what everybody wants or needs right now. And I'm tired of being told, like, wait for your health care, wait for child care to be affordable. Like, I now made it through the whole child care thing. Like, both of my kids are now, my youngest is starting kindergarten. And it's like, that's not okay that it costs $20,000 a year to send one kid to daycare. Like, families can't do that. We can't afford it. Yep.
two kids, $40,000.
Yep.
They both work. They both have really
Yeah.
good jobs. They make really good money.
Yeah.
But they are, it comes down some weeks. It's sort of like, hey, Nana, can we borrow $1,000? And I'm like,
Yeah.
and there's no reason.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that everything is so
Yeah, it's crazy. Like it really is. Like, and when you hear too now, like increasingly people. So I helped start a union of graduate student workers at Harvard when I was there doing my graduate school, and like one of the big things was childcare, and like that was an important thing even before I had kids. But then after I had kids, and I realized like, oh my God, where does the money come from? Like I am making as much money as it costs to put a kid in daycare. So like my husband and I are both getting extra jobs to try to make this work.
Right.
And like, so this is an important, yes, one of them right here. This is Cyrilina. She's my iconic character. She got a cape here last time, and now she's going to be super Cyrilina for Halloween. Is that right, babe?
It's okay.
Yes. No, she's a scowler. She knows that it's against the rules to smile in Newmarket. She's awesome. Yeah. Not Cyrilina. Don't do it. Don't let us catch you with a grin on your face. You're like Carmen Sandiego. But like, it's like people are like, okay, but now your kids are in public school. So like, are you still like as worried about childcare costs? And it's like, yes, I don't want other people to have to do this.
They're in public school. Are they getting the right education? Are they getting
Yeah.
a decent education?
Yeah.
Are we cutting corners?
I know.
I mean, school lunch. I mean, there's
Yeah.
so much.
I know. I
So
know.
much, and we can afford all of it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Easily without sweating.
Yeah.
But if we prioritize the right things.
Yeah. We can have them.
We can have
We can have
And I
them.
think that people are, because this administration has become so extreme
Yeah.
and so violent that people who normally aren't paying attention are finally starting to pay
Yeah,
attention.
and they're saying this is not what I want. I mean, even like one of the Republican members of our select board after my WMUR, like I did an interview with Adam Sexton the other day for TV, and it was about, foreign policy, energy policy, like all different kinds of things. And I came into our meeting and he said, I agreed with 90% of what you said.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, like that's a place to start from, right?
That's
Yes.
what we need to work
Right?
from,
And like
right?
the things that we disagree on, like that's okay. We can agree to disagree on some of these things. But it's important to recognize that there are places where we do agree, and to move forward from there.
Yeah, I heard Kennedy talking about autism and COVID
Yeah.
in an interview.
Yeah. RFK. Yeah.
Heard it today. And I'm like, how is this even, how do we allow this to happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
A lot of bad choices, a lot of compromises, and this is where we are. Yeah.
Happening to
Hi, I'm Carly.
Hi, Carly. Nice to meet you.
Nice to
I'm
meet you.
Zunta.
Oh, Zunta, thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate
for
it. Do you
coming
live
here.
in Newmarket?
I do.
Oh, great.
Yes, I do.
How long have you lived in Newmarket? I was going to say. No, that's Renan
Not in this house. No.
over here.
Okay, yeah.
I live up in the neighborhood that Renan used to live before he moved here.
Okay.
But I wanted to say to you that I don't know where I read it or when or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But it was something about your interest in creating win-win-win situations.
Yes, I love this.
And it's one of that just piqued my interest because it's one of my favorite ways of thinking about things.
Yes.
Because why wouldn't you? It's what I always say. But like, why would you not want to create a resolution to something that benefits everyone?
Yes.
Seems like the way to do it, right? But I always call it win-win-win, right? So I had to tell you that because I think it's really, really a really important concept.
Yeah.
And I think it's I don't know. I think it's a winner.
I agree.
As a term too.
Win-win-win.
Because it pulls everyone in.
Yeah.
At least me, and I'm maybe not representative, but
Yeah. But who doesn't want that at this point, right? It's like, hey, here's an option. We can do win-lose, like we can do nobody wins, or we can do win-win-win where we all win. And like there literally are so many places where we can do that.
and in order to achieve a win-win-win, you have to know everyone at the table.
Yes.
Which means you have to build relationships.
Yes.
So you can't do that with people that you don't know. You can have people that you don't know lose.
Yeah.
You don't need to know people in order for them to not get anything.
Right. And everyone has to recognize like their stake in the process, and you have to be willing to say, okay, there's not one single way to get there, right? Like if we agree on the end goal and we recognize like here's the starting point, like you have to be open to doing it other ways and trying. Yeah, I think about this a lot, like in union organizing and like local government and in parenting. Where are the win-win-wins? And like that's something that can give you the kind of momentum you need to build back the kind of trust that you need to actually get really big things done. And I don't think there's shortcuts to that.
No, I don't think so either. I think relationship building is the way to do it, and being sincere about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And being able to communicate your sincerity to other people.
Yeah.
I think that's in fact that's probably more important than just about anything else, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That you're sincere, because
I agree.
you can be sincere about something, and the other person appreciates that.
Yes.
They may not agree with you.
Exactly.
But they know that you're coming from an honest place.
Yeah. I'm smiling because there was a question I got last weekend, and it was like, how do you show people you care about people? And I was like, you care about people. That's the easiest way to get to that end result.
That's good.
Shouldn't be that complicated,
Yeah, no,
sometimes it is.
Do you know the Republican platform in 1956 is the same exact platform as the Democratic Socialist today?
Oh, that's so interesting.
Go look it up.
I love that. I love historical facts. Yeah, that's really fascinating to me.
Look at it.
I'm not surprised. I mean, like, there was a time up until the 1980s when, like, both parties were not at all opposed to abortion. And it's just been fascinating to trace. Like, when I teach my students about immigration and I tell them the Republican Party, like, wanted to be the party of immigrants at the turn of the 20th century and, like, was cultivating that, they don't even believe me. And I'm like, we don't have to go that far back to find examples of alternative paths we could have taken, or like, support for where we want to go.
If you think about it, when people are doing well, they have less to complain about. And that's when you think about times in history where we made gains, like women's rights, gay rights, nobody cared because everybody was doing okay. And it was only when that started to turn around and it became culture wars, when the other side was saying, well, that's because of immigrants, so that's because.
Oh, thanks, Boo. This is
That's because of gay people.
Yeah, no scapegoating.
All the scapegoating. When people are doing well, they want other people to do well. Not everybody, but the majority of them are, because people are big.
Well, they're not as fixated on who is, the reason that I am not doing as well, right?
Yeah, I was driving down 95 in the middle of a snowstorm. I watched a car on the left lane go completely across, up a snowbank, turn over, and go into a skid.
That's terrifying.
Cars were pulling over.
To help.
Everybody got out. Nobody went up to the window and said, oh, wait, who did you vote for?
Yeah, exactly.
People just helped.
Yeah. I mean, I have walked many a voter into the polling place who did not vote for me or any of the other people that I support. And I just think it's really important that people be given the opportunity to express themselves and do the right thing. And so many people want to be helpful.
They want to be helpful.
Yeah, they want to be helpful.
I still think the vast majority of people have the capacity to be good.
I think so.
Of course they do. People today are no different from people in 1956.
Right.
They may know different things.
Yeah.
They may have had different experiences, but as people, we're all the same.
People are
I
people.
don't think there's any difference at all. I think we're being told different stories.
Exactly. Yes.
And the stories that we're being told are ones that, are not helpful. They're not bringing us together.
That is really important to think, like, what are the stories we're telling ourselves, and like, what is the power that they have, and when do they no longer serve us? But your fact right now, like about the 70s and 80s, I was thinking about a graph that I used to show my students in like an economics class, and that was also like the peak of union membership in the United States. And there's just like so many factors, right, that enabled people to attain like the standard of living that didn't make everyone immediately look around and want to pull like the ladder out from whoever comes next. Yeah.
My dad was a blue-collar worker. He bought a house, had a car. We
Yeah.
went to the doctors whenever we needed to. We went to the dentist 3 times a year. We spent 3 weeks every summer on Nantucket.
Yeah.
Before it was Nantucket.
Yeah.
The Nantucket today. But it was
Cool.
still, we
Yeah.
had a 3-week vacation.
That's
We
so
spent
cool,
it at the
right?
beach. And,
Yeah.
I mean, the money that he made in his lifetime, I'm making 5 years. You know what I mean? It's just so different, but it was just a much kinder time.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to say hi to a couple more people, but I just wanted to thank you for telling me this. I really appreciate hearing that.
Coming. I can't
yes.
wait to hear more about
right
you.
On.
And I hope that you are as successful as I want you to be.
Thank you. Me too. Make sure we get there, right?
Yes.
Crossing the finish line. It was really nice to talk to you.
Yeah, nice to talk
Thank
to you.
Nora.
Look at that.
Yeah.
1956
Yeah.
Republican
I will.
platform.
No, you guys look so similar. Oh my God, how was your 1920s party? Amazing. Okay, I'm glad to see it. That's so fun. That's really cool. That outfit was fabulous. Hazen, it is so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Oh my God, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are
Okay,
you?
cool. Good.
Yeah.
Wow, this is great. I love this resemblance.
Yeah.
Where did you come from?
I grew up here, but I live in Manchester.
Cool.
But I didn't know this was happening until like 4 hours ago.
Fabulous. Perfect timing.
Yeah, but it seemed like an interesting event to come to.
Yeah.
Because I used to do a lot of political events when I was much younger. I've gone to a few, and I'm still politically minded.
Right on.
But it's not my main focus nowadays. So it's still like a good opportunity.
I'm glad you came. Thank you for coming. What is like your experience growing up with a dad who is like so engaged in so many different things politically?
I think I would say probably more than any of my siblings. I probably got like the bug the most.
Yeah.
It was like I was like young. I was like involved with all the shipyard and like the Save the Shipyard movement, and then following everything like the rise that came after that. And it was definitely a very like not just influential, but I was just saying. Well, I was saying to Eric because he was asking about it too.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it definitely like made me
He would ask
a
the
big
same
part
question.
of
Yeah.
who I like am now, and probably where a lot of my like fervor might come from,
Yeah.
or frustrations come from like seeing not a grassroots, but like grassroots to a strong extent.
Effective organizing.
Yeah, like coming
That's
up,
so real. Yeah.
Yeah, and seeing like that actually affecting policy or change. That was like a big part of growing up. And
How old are you now?
30.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was like a really formative time too in your life where you like have like clear memories.
Very clear memories, yeah, lots of them, and just like the marches and the rallies, and like then like his frustrations at the time, not at the rallies, and like everything he was dealing with, and like talking with, be like alone with like him and JJ, and they're just like, they're so angry, and being around a lot of like angry people, but angry for like a good reason, and then like putting that into application.
So we focus that anger.
Yeah, you focus it, right? You don't let it become like bitterness or resentment. Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I'm sure there was bitterness and resentment, but it was mostly channeled into that.
In the general sense.
Yeah, in the general sense.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah,
it is so nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. What are like some of the things that are most irritating to you right now?
Irritating. Well, we were talking about this beforehand about. I mean, I could ask like questions or something.
You're welcome to ask me literally any question about anything.
Should I ask them now, or is there like a question session?
There will probably be like a question session, but I'm happy to answer any, or you can just wait. Yeah, whatever is fine.
If there's a question segment, I'll ask it then it'll be more.
Cool. I'm notorious for staying until every question is answered, and occasionally that means house parties going for like 3 hours. But no one ever leaves before me, so points for that.
Okay.
So I mean,
good.
I will answer all the questions whenever you ask them. Okay. And if I don't, let me give you my phone number. I mean, your dad has it, I think, but. Yeah. Text me, call me anytime, or email me, and I'm happy to elaborate further. And they may also be on my website or one of the op-eds that I publish, because I have many strong thoughts on many things. So,
if you like what you hear today, talk to your friends.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Bring them to another event.
Yeah,
because I have friends that live in New Hampshire.
Right on.
For sure. And
I believe you when you say that.
So I feel like I'm guessing I will.
Cool.
But if I get my chance to ask like a question or two, then I'll do that. So
Absolutely.
There's definitely some issues that are probably like a couple issues that are driving the bus on whether a Democrat's going to win or lose. Other than exposure.
Yeah.
So
right on.
I'll probably ask those questions.
Cool. Great. Well, I will be ready for whatever questions you have, and I will be happy to answer them. Okay. Yes, and I'm sure if you have them, other people will. Right.
I'm sure.
And
I'm
that's
not the
like
only one thinking these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all unique in our ways, but also like it's cool to see like, oh, I also am irritated about that thing, or like I'm also really excited about this possibility, or like I've been thinking a lot about, and then like like, it's cool to see like over time that like regardless of really where you are on the political spectrum, like people are really in the same place now when it comes to things like healthcare and universal healthcare, or like opposition to like all of these wars that we keep finding ourselves into, or like, you know, we vaguely support unions, but like what does that look like to actually support unions? And I think that it's really fun to be able to help connect the dots and to help connect the people who care about the things that so many of us care about right now.
Well, that's like what organizing is, right?
Yeah, trying together.
The only candidate is actually organizing the union.
Yeah.
Some of the candidates give unions lip service.
Yeah.
And they'll just go so far and no further.
Yeah.
Carol Shea Porter was great supporting us. And
Yeah.
Great too.
I mean, I'm really excited. Like, there are certain skills that you get when you start a union where it's like, okay, what do we want to do? Do we want to take this next step? Like, who do we affiliate with? Or, you know, what are the major issues that we're going to be bringing up? And can we get people to sign cards to do this kind of like thing and have an election that's, you know, recognized and put on by the NLRB? And then I had like a kid and I was like, oh, this is really urgent. Like, I am making as much money as it costs to send her to daycare. And so like you show up at the bargaining table and you tell your story and you hope that it makes a difference, but then you also get other people to tell their stories. And like being part of that for, I guess it was 6 years before we got our first contract was really, it's so important because it's like, how do you not just bring people together, but hold them together and then actually make something happen, right?
Yeah.
Like actually accomplish something that makes a meaningful difference in people's lives.
Yeah. How do you make the momentum sustainable?
Yeah, because like we have so many people right now in Congress who are very good at arguing and like driving people apart and like getting clicks and like, but it's like, how do we actually craft the kind of policy that is meaningful and will make enough of a difference that people will recognize the value of politics and public service again?
Yeah.
And that's like pretty urgent because there's a lot of people who are not really in a position to hang on for much longer.
Yeah.
And who are kind of falling off the...
Yeah, people are pretty checked out. People
Yeah.
are pretty disenfranchised.
Yeah.
And they probably have been for a long time. But certainly there's a lot to do with like just the current. I have a lot of flack for like the current Democratic establishment.
Yeah.
Because I blame them. I'm very like educated on like how, especially younger culture,
Yeah.
especially the guys, but like how we got to where we got and like
Yeah.
why polls are looking the way they're looking.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, well maybe if like the DNC had a little bit of like
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Right on.
just credibility and respect for like the actual constituents and like listen to the voices of people and listen to the issues that are going on instead of just making these like brass executive moves that aren't supported.
Undemocratic.
Yeah.
Right? It's like there's like a
by
level...
nature,
Yeah.
incredibly.
Yeah. And like as someone who sits on the other end of that, right, you're like, okay, I keep doing this and it feels like nothing is changing. Like I feel like I'm giving you my time and my money and like you're not hearing what I'm saying. And I think it's really important to really listen to what people have to say instead of making assumptions about what they want to hear and just talking at them.
Well, I think that's what was leading to, that's how we got in this position is like, it worked for a long time, like not listening to people and they kept getting voted in, but like it's not going to work anymore.
Yeah.
And if if Democrats don't figure something out, then it's gonna spiral much harder than it already is.
Yeah.
So listening is probably the only way out of this.
I think so. Listening, exactly. Because it's like something different is coming next, but it's like, what is it, and how much of a role are we going to play in shaping it?
Something's going to
open
happen
question.
one way or another.
Yeah, exactly. Right, change is constant, so we can harness that and hopefully shape it. Great. Can people mostly hear me? I'm sorry, Allie, if I have my back to you a little bit, and Patricia, I'm glad you're here. I just have to start by saying a huge, huge thank you to everybody who is filling this room, to the people who are standing in the back of the kitchen. I am so grateful to you for being here. Thank you for bringing your kids and for spending your, what day of the week is it? Saturday? Sunday. Time flies when you're having fun. Your Sunday night with us. Like, what a better way to spend a day than to get together for a couple of hours with like a bunch of new friends and potential neighbors, people who care a lot about what's going on right now, and think seriously and to think hard about what we can do to fix it. And it's even better when there's delicious food. I found that helps facilitate hard conversations, and so I'm grateful to everyone who's provided the food, and of course to Renan and Suki and Gabe for opening your home to us, opening your toy box to my children. and everything that is to come. So as they mentioned, my name is Carly Barriant. I am a mom. I have 2 awesome little kids. Sierra Lena is going into 3rd grade, and Lyndon is starting kindergarten, which is huge. Heck yeah. Oldest public school in New Hampshire, center school. The kids learn, that's what the plaque says, before they learn to read. And I'm really glad that we got to this point. A few weeks ago, Eric and I cracked open a bottle of champagne to celebrate our anniversary. But not just that, we were celebrating our last daycare bill. Yeah. Those of you who are clapping, like, Mom, you get it. Daycare is so expensive in New Hampshire. It's literally $20,000 a year. And when we had our first kid, Eric is an awesome public middle school teacher. I was in graduate school. And I was like, well, where is that money going to come from? And so we both got extra jobs to pay for our kids. And that really inspired me. I was in the process of helping to start a union at that time to help organize people at Harvard, where I was doing my graduate work. And childcare was something that a lot of people didn't know. They said, we don't have kids. Like, why do we care about this? And then having those conversations about why this matters to all of us, even if we aren't immediately affected by it, is something that was really powerful for me. To see people go on strike so that I could have childcare, to walk a picket line so that they could have dependent health care. Those are the kinds of experiences that teach you there are so many people who are trying so hard to put our world back together, even when it feels like it's falling apart. I'm incredibly lucky to be the chair of the select board in Hampton. Hampton is an amazing town. Hampton Beach, 17,000 residents in the winter, 150,000 in the summer, which makes budgeting a real nightmare, especially in New Hampshire, where we're 48th when it comes to state support for cities and towns, and last when it comes to state support for public education. And I just want to take you with me to Monday nights in Hampton, select board meetings. We meet in the basement of an old bank. It's our town hall. Gray walls, no windows, the rug, old. It's a great place. It's really cool. And we sit around a table, you know, Republicans, Democrats, municipal, public servants. And every once in a while, we get an item on our agenda that hits really close to home. So a few months ago on our agenda was one of my neighbors. And the item on the agenda was a tax lien, which is the last step that a municipality can take before they take your home for not paying back taxes. And this is a woman who has lived in this community, worked, retired, paid off her home, and can no longer afford her increasing property taxes on her Social Security. And when property taxes go up, it's not because in Hampton we're getting greedy and we want to put in sidewalks or something fancy. It's because we are dealing with a federal government that is not paying their fair share. And what I want to do is I want to go to Congress and I want to bring that money back to New Hampshire. Yeah. You know, I am so excited to be running as a Democrat, and I'm also really excited because I have now spent the last year listening to people from across the political spectrum in this state. I have put 27,000 miles on my car. Shout out to Don, who drove me today, because I don't know if my car is going to make it to the end of the month, and I'm grateful to him for chipping in that way. And across the state, I've been in every single town, and I've asked people everywhere, like, what are the things that are keeping you up at night? Like, is it your daycare bills? Like, is it what's going on in our schools? Is it your parents and their healthcare costs? Like, what is it? What is it? And I hear the same things from everybody across the political spectrum. And I swear to you, this is true. People in New Hampshire, we just want to be able to afford to live here. We want to be safe in our homes and our schools. We want a functional government, and we want the temperature of our politics turned just way down right now. And we need people who will bring us together and who recognize that there is so much that we share. And so my goal in this campaign has been to listen to people across the state and to ask them, how do you want to get involved in this campaign so that we can organize, so that we can build power, so that we can make the changes that we desperately need. We need people in Washington right now who understand just how many people are hanging on by their fingernails and who react and act with the urgency that this moment requires. And for hundreds and hundreds of people, over 1,000 people who have signed up to volunteer, that person is me, and that campaign is this one. And so I am incredibly grateful to all of you. Yeah. Brenda, you know,
I didn't do anything.
you did though. You did. Like, you show up. Like, you show up. You work our sign-in tables. Like, you're there in Exeter at Independence Day. Like, you're helping Linda Haskins when she's running for office, and you're showing up at the Rockingham County Commissioners meetings when we had on the docket whether or not we should have a 287G part, whether we should house ICE detainees in our county jail. Brenda was there, and I know that because I was there. Yeah. Yeah. And you sat 2 seats away from me, and we went every single week to the county jail, and we didn't know if we were going to get, or the county commissioners meetings, we didn't know if we were going to win that vote. You were there. It was a really hard meeting. There were 2 Republicans on the board and 1 Democrat, and we thought, oh, for sure they're going to go with this contract through. It's money for our communities, right? Like, we could benefit from having some money here. And we went for 4 weeks in a row, and we testified, and we said, please don't do this. It is not the right thing to do right now. This was in January, right after Alex Preddy and Renee Good had been shot in Minnesota. And we said, and it's going to expose you to a heck of a lot of liability. So financially speaking, this is not a great idea for our community. And they listened to us. And Tom Tombarello, who's a Republican, he voted to table that contract because he knows that it's not the right thing to do. And I'm here to say, like, I think there are so many people who know what is wrong with our country. They know what's broken, and we also know how to fix it. And the way that we do that is by organizing and building power and making changes. And I would be so grateful to any of you for any of the ways you want to get involved in this campaign. I am so happy to answer any and all of your questions. I have a very extensive website at this point, carlyberriant.com, that has like 200 plus policy proposals, things that I've written after conversations with people, and 15 op-eds that I have published in papers around the state of New Hampshire on things like what happens to Genesis when they've been bought out by private equity and they're going through bankruptcy protections. And nursing staffing regulations have changed, so you only need a nurse 8 hours a day instead of 24. What does that do to the care of the people there, right? My incredible opposition to the war in Iran, what I think we should do to make sure that we have no data centers in our communities, spreading their costs out among us, right? Without having that conversation in our communities. And so I'm happy to chat about any of those or anything else that may be on your mind right now, because this needs to be a relationship, right? Good representation is a relationship, and it's a conversation where we keep coming back. So thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. This is incredibly special. We have new stickers. So many people said, how do you pronounce your name? And I said, it's Berriant. And so the Brain Trust came up with a blueberry and the pronunciation on the sticker and the button. And they're a lot of fun because as hard as things are right now, we're also incredibly lucky to be able to get together in a room like this and talk about the world we want to live in and that we want our kids to live in, and then do something about it to make that world a reality. So thank you, everybody. Okay, I'm not gonna pretend to use the mic. All right, what questions do we have for me tonight? Questions, comments, thoughts, feelings? Susan, David. Okay, David, yes.
Thank you very much, and thank you for putting yourself out and doing this. What keeps me up at night is the death of American democracy.
Yeah.
I heard a interview with the great journalist Maggie Haberman yesterday. She said, even if the Democrats win the House, which you probably will, there's nothing that Democrats can do because they'll ignore your subpoenas, they'll slow walk your investigations, they'll drag you to court, they'll wait you out. The white supremacist liars are very good at lying and waiting you out. I'm begging you, tell me why Maggie Haberman is wrong.
Ah, excellent, David. Well, who am I to tell Maggie Haberman that she's wrong? Except, obviously, I'm going to. So I think that is a story that is really powerful, and it is being told by one of our most powerful storytellers, right? Maggie has been covering the Trump administration since 2016, and she has been on the inside and seen up close, right, what is going on. And I think that there are a lot of things that are going to be hard. Like, I'm not going to come and stand before you and tell you I'm going to get this and this and this done guaranteed, because I haven't whipped those votes yet. I mean, the elections haven't even happened. I have no idea who's going to be in Congress, except that I know that around the country this year, there have been a whole bunch of people who have decided to retire, and a whole bunch of other people like me who 2 years ago was like definitely not thinking of running for Congress, who now have been running for Congress for 14 months. And along the way, I've learned some really interesting things. I've talked to people who are running on both sides of the aisle in other places around the United States. I have spoken with and learned from an old friend now, the old parliamentarian of the House of Representatives in the 1990s, about what are the mechanisms of power. He's written a book about this, and I don't think enough people have read it, that are at our disposal in Congress to get things done. But one of the things that gives me the most hope is that in listening to people across New Hampshire this year, it has become so abundantly clear to me, and when I say this, if you didn't already know it, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's clear to me too. The divides in this country, like truly, are not between Democrats and Republicans, or even between progressives and moderates, or whatever it is. They are between regular people, like normal people who are just trying to get by, and a political and economic system that completely ignores us, and that has to change. It has to change. And David, we are going to be the ones who change it. And we are already doing that. Like, we are changing it at every level that we can. One of the best things about this campaign has been recruiting people to run for school board and municipal elections this past winter and seeing them win. Helping people, recruiting people who are running for state rep here in New Hampshire and hopefully helping them win and take back the House so that we can have the kind of partnerships we need. But the reason I'm hopeful when it comes to Republicans and Democrats, please God, is that there's a lot of stuff that makes people across the political spectrum angry. Corruption is one of them, right? This idea that Congress people shouldn't be trading stocks has a lot of support across the spectrum. And so the question is, why do we not have that, if that's something we all agree we want? Breaking up corporate healthcare is another one, right? I look at the types of legislation that I think I can support and sponsor and that will get across the finish line and have an immediate impact on regular people. And breaking up corporate healthcare is a huge one. Housing was one of them. And this year, when things were getting really bad and people were not looking around at, like, you know, there was not many signs of hope, the Road to Housing Act last fall in September, I started talking about it. And I said, keep an eye on this, because there are enough people right now who realize that our housing situation is a full-on crisis in this country. And they passed the Road to Housing legislation. Trump didn't sign it, but it still went into law last week. And so I think breaking up corporate healthcare, right? Because it is criminal that, like, one company, there's 5 companies right now in the United States, this blows my mind, that own your doctor and your insurer and your pharmacy. And it's like they take a cut at every step of the way. And, like, if you look at our municipal budgets, and I do because I'm on the budget committee, and if you look at our school budgets, and I do because he's a public school teacher, you realize that healthcare costs are one of the key drivers of our property tax increases here in New Hampshire. Like, who here had their healthcare costs go up this past year, right? Who here spent more than an hour on the phone with somebody trying to figure out a billing situation or filling a prescription? Yeah, it sucks, and we all know that, and we can change it by breaking up corporate healthcare monopolies. And so I agree that we should be doing things like supporting the impeachment of Donald Trump. We absolutely need to hold all of these people who are enabling things that are truly criminal accountable. And that's really important because Congress has 2 jobs, right? Oversight and legislation. But it is not the only thing that we need to be doing. And, you know, if you want to get something done, who do you ask? A busy lady. Yeah. All right. So if I can have 2 kids, yeah. If I can have 2 kids run for Congress, you know, be the chair of the select board in Hampton, I am certain that I can get us some good legislation down in D.C. Yeah, I feel confident about that. I don't know, David, do you feel like somewhat hopeful, or no, you're still feeling dismay?
I'll be more hopeful when you're in there.
Okay, me too. Well, that's where you guys come into play. That's where you come into play. Okay, other questions? Tazen, I feel like you might have a question. You mentioned earlier you might have one.
Yeah, probably a few.
Okay, great.
I was gonna ask one. What's your funding-wise? How much of your funding comes from, like, public, like your constituents?
Oh my God, I wish we had public funding for these elections. Yes.
Yeah, not public.
Great question. It does come from the public, 100%.
Versus
corporations.
Like PACs,
Yeah.
super PACs.
Yeah.
And then, you know, this is divisive, but I think that this is what a lot of the younger people are paying attention to, is groups like maybe APAC,
Yeah.
or where money is going as far as
Yes.
furthering projects that have nothing to do with
Yeah.
internal U.S. development.
Yeah, money in politics is a poison, and like that baby clearly knows what's up. Tiny baby, but still is like, yeah, let's get money out of politics. Yes, baby, I agree. We really do. So none of my money comes from corporations. None of it comes from APAC. I did have a small PAC contribution from Humanity. It was Historians for the Public, a bunch of like public historians who wanted to create a PAC, and then realized that was really hard. And so that money didn't go very far. And what's really awesome about this campaign is that we have raised well over $500,000 at this point, which is nothing to like joke about. That's real money. It's amazing. From people in every single state in the country, because people in this country realize like how important control of the House of Representatives is, and they know that New Hampshire is going to be playing a very divisive or decisive role. Hopefully not a divisive role, we'll see. And so that's really cool, but also from almost every single town in New Hampshire. Like last week, 75% of my contributions came from regular people here in New Hampshire. The average contribution, thank you, I appreciate that, across all like $500,000 is under $100. Like I'm not like carving out a section and saying like all my in-state donors are under 100. Like across all of those donors, the average is under $100. And after Stephanie Shaheen, who most people know, I have the highest percentage of New Hampshire donors, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. And the reason for that is all of you. It's because like from the very beginning, we went to every single one of the 74 towns in this district, and we asked people, how do you want to get involved in this campaign? And that type of organizing is so important right now for winning a race like this and holding power and exercising it responsibly, and for getting the kind of grassroots support that enables you to spend your time driving and listening to people who don't agree with you on anything, who have no money to give you, as well as people who have some money to give you, because those are the kind of stories that I want in my head when I go down to Washington, D.C. It's really important that I spend this time listening, because the stories that people have told me are the kind of stories that can change the world. And I say that and I know that because they are the kind of stories that changed me. Like they are the stories that led me to do something insane, like run for Congress. And so I'm really, really lucky to have that kind of support, because it takes two things to win a congressional race. It takes money and it takes people. And I do not have any billionaire backers, but they do not have us. They do not have our votes. They do not have a JJ. They do not have a Don. They do not have a Paul or a Lisa or a Roy or a Crystal. And that is what makes all the difference. 2 Brendas. I got 2 Brendas. Yeah. We got Exeter Brenda and Newmarket Brenda. And like, these are world builders. Like, these people are movers and shakers. And like, I'm talking about volunteers who I so deeply admire and love and respect, and am like incredibly in awe of literally every single day of the week. Like, you ask Lisa about PFAS, you're going to learn everything you ever needed to know about PFAS and more. And then you're going to learn how you fix the PFAS problem that is killing us here in New Hampshire. And that's pretty awesome. So quality over quantity any day of the week. Yeah. Other questions that we have for me? You can also be like short answer or long, like you can tell me short answer, Carly. It's okay.
Just to let you know,
Yeah.
Shaheen office called me yesterday.
Yeah.
And they said, you know, do you have a minute? Can you talk? Well, I'm here calling about Stephanie Shaheen. I said, I vote for Carly.
Ah, there you go. It's good for the data cleanup.
They were very nice.
Yes, I don't doubt it. I mean, we're lucky. We have like a pretty good field of candidates. And I think that it's important that we send me to Washington, because I think I'm the best one. So points for that. Yes, what is your question, Brenda?
The question was, when I was talking to Chris the other day,
Yeah.
because I can't wait to see the both of you in Washington. That would be so exciting. And I was talking to him about, I have friends that have small businesses.
Yeah.
And they have been tariffed to death.
Yeah.
You know, never mind taxes and everything else that's going on, but the tariffs. And they all, I just tell them, you know, keep track of everything. Don't lose any
Yeah.
of your paperwork, because something's going to be done sooner or later. They just all feel like they're going to get left behind in the shuffle.
Yeah.
To try and change everything back and make it better than it was before.
Yeah.
And they're worried about, they're not even thinking about getting those tariffs back. And even though they say
Yeah.
that they changed them to 10%, That's no way that they're 10%. She's at least 25% when she orders stuff. This is Beju's down in Exeter.
Yeah.
You know, orders stuff from France.
Yeah.
And from India and all the great linens and things that she has. It's
Yeah.
like she gets taxed on, and they will not release anything until she pays those tariffs.
Yeah.
They're at least 25%.
Yeah, I
And
appreciate
it's
that.
just killing small business.
It is. It really is killing them. And it's like like you said, death by 1,000 cuts, because it's the combination of like tariffs, instability, right? Like there was a guy in Northampton who opened an electric car dealership, and he thought this would be like a great, under Joe Biden and the IRA, he was like, great, we're moving in the direction of renewables. And then all of a sudden the tax credits went away for 8 months. And he was like, well, I was expecting this money that didn't come. And like people just having the rug pulled out from under them time and time again by an administration that like truly doesn't care about any regular people at this point. And that's abundantly clear. So like when it comes to tariffs, this is something that really concerns me because there's just so little control that regular people have right now over what's going on. Yeah.
Like,
Rebate the tariff. They did to the big corporations, right?
Right.
But they won't to everybody else or to us who are paying those costs.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe have a phone number you can call, get your name, number,
Yeah.
whatever in there, so that possibly we
Yeah.
can get it back. When we freeze everything Trump's got, and we can just use that.
Yeah.
To, pay people back from everything he's stealing.
Yeah. Oh God, he's stealing a lot of money.
God.
Yeah. I mean, like the corruption right now is kind of unfathomable.
Yeah,
Well, what we do know is like $2 billion with a B dollars, which is a lot of money from what I can tell. And
one thing.
yeah, I know. And it's like self-dealing at a level we've never seen. So like when it comes to the tariffs and constituent services, which feels like it's kind of the underlying question there, I think that's really important. I have heard like across the district that people are very satisfied with the constituent services they've had under Chris Pappas when he was our representative. And that's something that's really important to me. And that's why like I give people my phone number now. And that's why I say like, let's start this conversation now so that I can understand like what are the kinds of constituent services that we need to be emphasizing or prioritizing? Like where in the district do we need to be listening to people? Who are the kinds of people in these communities that can bring us these concerns? And so having a way, a mechanism for keeping tabs on that and checking in with people on a regular basis is really important.
Giving them a way
Yeah.
to, like they all think they're going to go by the wayside, giving them a little hope.
Yeah.
They don't even think about trying to get them back. They're just trying to get their merchandise
Yeah.
in the country now, and it will not allow it if they don't pay those tariffs.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is like there's a woman in Hampton who owns like a dental supply company. And she said that it's become such a nightmare to ship to Canada where she has a lot of her customers that she just stopped shipments for a while.
Canada.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Or people who are there's this woman in Gilmanton who has these beautiful lamps and one of them shattered on the way over from Germany and she couldn't even return it. And like she had to pay all of these tariffs on it and she was just left with a huge bill and nothing. And it feels like that for so many of us, like we've been sold a bag of goods. So when it comes to constituent services, I have on my website like a really long plan for like what I want to do when it comes to constituent services, like how I want to be present. And I would love to hear feedback on that. Any experiences that you've had like with our current federal delegation, I would love to hear how I can learn from that. I love talking to like federal delegation staffers to hear like what are the kinds of things that pop up time and time again, like where are the places where you would change this process if you were in charge. And that's really fun. But like, yeah, I know small businesses are having a hard time right now. With healthcare costs and tariffs, it's really hard to make ends meet. And this is true around New Hampshire, and you guys all know this. And we know that the only way to change it is by changing the people who are making these policies, right? We have to put different kinds of people into power. Thank you, Brenda. Yeah.
You have to take politics personal.
Yes.
If you don't take it personal, the hair in your arms don't raise up, and you won't roll up the sleeves.
Yeah.
Okay? And it seems to me that every election I'm just getting older and older and older, and I'm complaining and protesting the same issues. That's not fair. Us people, we run these elections, and you notice that pumpkin in charge there, he's trying to dwell into New Hampshire's politics now for the voting.
Yeah.
We don't have a voting problem.
Yeah.
We don't want Elon Musk counting our votes, that's for sure.
Dear God, no.
I just...
Please, dear God,
I'm
no.
gonna stop.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Like JJ's point though is right. Like if like a lot of people say like I don't do politics, and you have to figure out why. right? It's like, okay, are you cynical? Like, do you think the system is rigged? Like, there's a lot of reasons why people would feel that way, right? My students, 24 years old, like so smart, so capable, and are like, none of it matters. It's all the same. And it's like, what do you mean it's all the same, guys? Like, it's not. And yet it feels that way to so many of us. But like, to your point, if you don't do politics, politics does you, right? Like, everything is political. And we have to figure out ways to bring people in. And this is why I ask people, like, how do you want to get involved in the campaign? But to the point of elections, who here is worried about election security this fall and making sure your vote? Okay, well, I'll tell you one thing. Absentee ballots have already gone out in New Hampshire. And I know that I already got one vote. So points for that. Yes, 29,000 more to go. Yeah, that's the only one I've heard of, so I love it. But I'm an election commissioner in Hampton. And I take very seriously our elections. And what that means is, like, every election day, you get to the polling. We have the second biggest polling place in the district, so it's maybe a little different than some places in that it's deeply wonderful and occasionally chaotic. And we get there at like 5:30 or 6 a.m. when the polls open. My job as on the select board is to make sure that, you know, all those beautiful polling booths are set up nicely. They have the pen that they need, that the machines are paid for, that we have, you know, what we need. And the moderator does the rest with the clerks and things. But it's really important to me that our elections are free and fair. And they have been every single time that I have been there, because I stay until every last vote is counted, even if it's 2 a.m. the next day, and I sign my name on the box with the ballots and the count. And I know that's true in Hampton, and I have seen it with my own eyes, but I know that it's not necessarily true everywhere. And so what I tell people are two things. One, check your status. If you didn't vote in municipal elections this year, boo, you should vote in municipal elections. They're so important. But check your voter status, because there was a purge of the voter checklist, and you may have inadvertently been taken off. But the other thing is sign up to go to your polling place and be an observer, to help check people in, to be a ballot clerk, to help people when they're putting their ballot away, to help hand count them at the end of the night. Take part in the elections. If you are worried, put that worry to work and do something to make sure that in the place that you have power, right, in your community, your elections happen. And if we all do that across the state, we will say in New Hampshire, we have free and fair elections. And that's really important, because it is terribly overwhelming and really just depressing what's going on right now in Congress. Is there one or two more questions? I don't want to bore you guys. Okay, yes.
I have one question.
Sanke, win-win-win. I love
I
it.
have more than that, but I'll stick to one. So you mentioned sources of power, organized money, organized people.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what we can do
Yes.
to help you organize the people, and what you will do once you're elected to keep organizing people,
Wah!
so that we can
Great question.
make some real change.
Excellent. Oh my God, I love this question. I also have to give you credit for coming up earlier and being like, I heard that you like win-win-win politics. And I was like, yes, much better than win-lose or lose-lose. So yes, win-win-win politics are awesome. And they are the way that we build the kind of power we need to bring a lot of people into this movement and keep them organized. So how can you get involved if you would like to get involved? Dawn's going to tell people a little bit more in a couple of moments. But what I can say is that there are so many amazing ways to get involved. This man, Renan, has coordinated an effort to have 35,000 handwritten postcards go out in the middle of August. And I don't mean Renan is doing all 35,000, right? I don't know if he's got the hands for that. But what he did is he helped us find people in every single community who can write to people in their community, their neighbors, about our campaign and this election and why it matters. So if you want to write postcards, you can help writing postcards. My husband, Eric, is so delightful and lovely. And he and I work really hard to write emails that we send to people that aren't like crap emails that are like siren emoji, like urgently rush me this for my cat's deadline, like Joe Biden will match you. They're like, here's how we use federal policy to invest in municipal sewer and water infrastructure, the kind of infrastructure that's underground that we don't always see or think about, but that is absolutely foundational to solving our housing crisis right now. Sometimes they're funnier than that, depending on the mood. But sign up for our emails and respond to them. The ideas that I have come from conversations that I've had. Writing letters to the editor is another great thing that you can do to help the campaign. I think we've had at least one every single day for the last few weeks, and we're going to have one every single day until the end. So make your voice heard in that respect. Take 2 yard signs with you, one for your yard and then one for a conversation with somebody else, because that's organizing. And we have phone banks on a weekly basis. Those you can do from anywhere, almost any time. And they're really fun. You're calling other Democrats and saying, hey, there's this lady that's running and I met her and I want to invite you to a party so you can meet her. Or check out her website. Or we do door knocking now in all parts of the district. And so if you want to get involved, there is a way for you to get involved. We've had dance classes. We've had silent auctions that people put on where they were auctioning off knit socks. We've done all sorts of amazing things in this campaign. And so if you have an idea, I would love to hear it. And I would love to make it happen. So that's one way. And then staying in touch, I mean, part of it is being here. I have promised, one, that if I'm not in DC, I will be in the district. I will be here in the same communities that I've spent the last year in. One, because it's the best place to be. Like, New Hampshire is amazing. I was telling Roy earlier, I am so lucky that I've gotten to drive around every part of this district in every time of day and every time of the year. And it is the most spectacular place. And there are so many cool people. Like, now I can go to Rochester, and it's not just like I get to see one of my big signs, which is so funny, but like I'll see someone wearing one of my buttons, or I'll drive by a house and I'll see them with a yard sign and I don't even know who that person is. And I just love that and the way that it's bringing us together. So term limits, not serving for more than 3 terms, being here when I'm not there, and continuing to have open lines of communication and really good constituent services are some of my top priorities right now. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Are there any other questions we didn't talk about? Okay, yeah, Lisa, let's hear it.
This is way out of left field.
Okay, great.
What have you and the campaign learned from the fantabulous crash and burn that we witnessed last month? Or we witnessed, I guess, over the whole campaign.
Everyone's thinking, like, which one are we referring to? Yeah.
Platner's.
In Maine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, really important to have a really robust primary process, right? I think that one of the things, I talked to a friend of mine who went to school with me, and she lives in Maine, and she's really active in local government. She made little stickers that say, I voted at town meeting, which I think is great. I was like, how do we get those for Hampton? And I think one of the challenges is that a lot of these races obviously have national significance. And when they get that type of national news coverage, it can take all of the oxygen out of the room. And so from the very beginning of that campaign, it felt like there was not that many people in the race. And I think that it's really important that we all get to know all of our candidates and we all get to follow along and take part in the election process and vote for the person we want to represent us in Washington. I think it showed a lot of different things and people will draw different conclusions from it. But I think it showed that character matters and that there's a heck of a lot of people who are really frustrated by what they see as people coming from outside and putting their thumb on the scale. We don't need that. We need good elections. We need good candidates and we need robust primaries so that people learn how to be candidates and they give the people an opportunity to pick who we want to represent us in Washington. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is about, right? Who do we want to represent us in Washington? Who do we think will do the best job representing us and our families when they are sitting around the table, when the decisions that affect our lives are made? Who's going to be the person that prioritizes the things that we care the most about? And I want that person to be me.
So do I.
Yeah. Do we have any teachers in the room? Oh, yeah, always. Okay, awesome. All right, so teachers, what about union organizers or union members, union families? Yes, iconic. What about parents or grandparents? Heck yes. All right, so together we are the Democratic Party. For a while, they haven't been paying as much attention to us as they probably should have, but we've been there the whole time. You might have missed us. We are the ones who are doing all of the hard work of holding our communities together. And I just got to say a special thing about teachers because in New Hampshire, like this is all so personal and so local. A lot of times you have people saying, we don't want families moving into our community because the kids are so darn expensive to educate. Or it's, oh, those teachers with their 3 months of summer vacation, putting it to good use this year. But I got to say, like one of the best things about serving in local government is that you learn how we can use federal policy to lower our property taxes. And this is something, right, that like, I don't care where you are on the political spectrum, you are going to listen. And in addition to universal health care, right, like Medicare for all from the beginning to the end of life, that includes all the pieces, the parts of the body you teach your kids are the parts of the body, your eyes, your ears, your mouth, your mental health. We're working on that one still. But we need to fully fund our public schools. And teachers people who are working in schools, they fully get this. We need to fully fund IDEA. And I just really want to make a plug for this right now, because when we have these state rep races coming up, or we have our school board stuff coming up, or we have budget conversations coming up in New Hampshire that are going to be really hard, being able to say, actually, it's not the kids, it's not the teachers, it is the state, but it's also the federal government. And there are things that we can do at the federal level, fully funding the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. This is amazing legislation passed in the 1970s, said every kid deserves a free and appropriate public education. Federal government said, we'll pay 40% of that. And they didn't. And they didn't. Last year they paid 7%. And in a state like New Hampshire, who pays the rest? We do, right? We do. And that's not okay. Every kid deserves a good education, and we need more help making sure that that happens. And so fully funding our public schools, Title I funding, ensuring that we get direct certification of Medicaid, so that people who are enrolled in Medicaid, this is like 1 out of 3 kids in New Hampshire's healthcare, that they also have access to SNAP and WIC and TANF and free and reduced school lunch, will bring literal millions of dollars back into New Hampshire and put it in the places that need it the most. Roger.
Well, you have an incredible name for memory for names.
Thank you.
I have 2 children who are disabled, and all the initiatives to cut diversity are just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Here's the truth. The parents of disabled children save the state millions of dollars every year.
Yeah.
If my daughter lives at home, she costs the state about $70,000 to take care of. If she goes into a facility, I know because she is in one now,
Yep.
her beginning budget was $400,000
Yeah.
a year. If every family who's taking care of a disabled person at home wore a badge that said, I saved the state $2,000, $10,000, $100,000
Yeah.
this year, they would stop treating us like crap.
Yeah. Thank you, Roger. I really appreciate you sharing that. 100%. Yeah. There are a lot of families right now who are doing things that are more than heroic, and they are not getting the support that they need or the recognition that they deserve. And I am running because everyone matters. You might feel like you haven't mattered in politics, and that is wrong. And this is an opportunity to show what we can do when we get together and we try to build something better. So I am grateful to everybody for being here tonight. Thank you so, so much. Yeah. Thank you, Allie. If you have additional questions for me, I am happy to answer them in any length you like. And I also just want to make sure we have an opportunity to eat some of the delicious food and chat with one another about what we want going forward. And with that, I will cede the floor to Don Bliss.